But any thoughts today? Am I being too cruel and too in their face when I say that I'm comparing Trump to Hitler and Putin? No, because it's true. And you do what you do and you say what you say, and you don't worry about what people say back to you because you can always sort it out, you see. You have the ability to listen to what they say and figure out if there's anything important in it that will make your day. And if not, you just tell them to go away and play in their own sandbox because you have more important things to do than have to listen to people who just want to fiddle away the day while Rome burns. And so the home that you call Rome is where you roam all day and say, what a nice day today. What a nice day today. But they don't want to roam around, you see, and get a new point of view. So they just stay in their cages and say, if I had to roam, I might have to go home because God would say, hey, what are you doing out of your cage today? And I don't want to be one of the ones that God gets mad at because I'm out of my cage. So I have to stay in my cage until I hear the page that says, time to come home, honey. Time to come home. I've prepared a feast for you, and I won't let you be the least of my children, you see, because you did not do what I asked you to, and you did not love the least of my children. So now I have to feed you to the beast so that you can be released from your pain, you see, when you find out that the least of my children was there to set you free. And you didn't want to be set free, so you just stayed in your cage. And now I have to turn the page and get a new point of view because I'm tired of you always trying to tell me what to do and what to say because I'm not your page, you see. I am the God of the universe, and I don't play that way. I don't play the way that will say, hey, God has to do it this way, God has to think this way, God has to do this, God has to do that, because I'm the king of the universe, and what I say goes. So I'll tell you what God knows, and I don't play that way, children. I don't play that way. I am not the one that follows you. You see, that's your shadow. So turn around and look at your shadow, honey, and see that it's not God that you're afraid of. It's your own shadow. And so turn to the light and say, hey, this light is bright. It must be something to do with that shadow that keeps following me. I wonder why that shadow won't let me be. Just follows me, and I have to do what it says, you see. Because if I don't do what the shadow says, then the shadow will attack me. So I better attack it first if I want to be free of the shadow. So I'll get out my gun and I'll shoot that shadow. And then the shadow won't be there anymore. Oops, still there. And I have to admit, there's no blood anywhere. And I thought I shot it dead. So maybe this gun doesn't do anything after all. So I guess I can just turn it on myself and pull the trigger, and I'll still be here. And so you turn the gun on yourself and you pull the trigger to see if you're still there. And then you say, oh my God, I have to go away because I'm dead, you see, because I killed myself because that damn shadow would not let me be. And it's still here, you see. There's still a shadow there, even if I'm dead. And so you are in the red, people. You're in the red. And you bled and bled and bled because you never set yourself free from that cage that you thought that you had to stay in order to please me. And I kind of get a charge, Stephanie, out of the way that you play because you don't really give a shit what they say. And if they say to you, well, God wouldn't like that, you just say, that's very funny today that you think that you are the mouthpiece for God and you can tell me what God would like and what God wouldn't like. It's sort of crazy, don't you think? You're sort of crazy, aren't you? Although you don't say that. But the point is made that they're a little bit crazy, that they're insane to think that they speak for me. And so I love to play with you because we have a good time, don't we? Actually, God, we do have a great time, and I can't figure it out. I cannot for the life of me figure it out. All I know is that every day is a surprise, and what meets my roaming eyes is a beautiful sunrise. Every day is like, what a beautiful day it was to drive down to my house. It was just beautiful. Well, not today, yesterday, I guess, but it was a beautiful day today, too. The weather was just perfect, the scenery was perfect, and it was just a very, very good day. And then here I get to say whatever the fuck I want. See, I just said fuck to you. Do you like it if I do that, or are you mad at me? Because I got an attitude. That tickles me pink, dear, that you would ask me if it bothers me because you don't care what I say. If I say it bothers me, then you'll say, why is that, God? What is it that bothers you about what I did say? And then I'll have to try to explain myself that didn't really bother me all that much. I just wanted to say that so I could get an early lunch because you see, I like it a bunch when I get to munch on the fruit of the vine because the fruit of the vine is mine, you see. The fruit of the vine belongs to me because the vine is the trust on the happy smile that comes to those who say, what a great day. What a beautiful day it is today. And then if something doesn't meet their approval, they say, hey, God, had a little problem today. You had a little problem today, didn't you, Stephanie? With the plumbing. God, I had some problems with the plumbing, the leak, and there was some sewer gas escaping. Right. And so you said, well, I better get that plumber on the line and talk to him about it. And you did, and you caught him, and he said, well, that's not a good thing. So we'll be right down there tomorrow and fix that. And you said, okay, okay, but how will I know it's really fixed? Because I don't want to get gassed with sewer gas when I'm asleep, you see. And so you come to me and you say, God, what do you think? Am I going to be gassed with sewer gas in my sleep? Or am I going to spring a leak and seek to be released from my responsibility to finish that house and make sure that everything is in shape for the next chapter in my story? And I say, well, if you get an early release, honey, then I won't be the one that will be free of anxiety because I don't have anxiety anyway, but I'm not going to be free of something I don't have. So I'll just say, why don't you stay a while? Why don't you stay a while on Earth, you see, and keep that ship of state afloat? We will have to redirect it, you see, because I don't want it to hit that iceberg. I want it to maybe rock a bit, and the ones who panic will dive overboard and say, "Oh my God, we hit an iceberg today. We better get off the ship," and they'll dive overboard. And you'll say, "Thank God we're rid of them because they were rocking the boat." And now we can just turn the wheel and avoid that iceberg, you see, and so you'll save humanity. Okay, God, so you are taking a very different approach, like a different point of view on the post I made today on my Facebook group, where I said the ship of state's headed for an iceberg and everybody of goodwill should abandon ship because there's cruise boats hanging out trying to pluck up any survivors and take them to safety. But you're taking the opposite tack, that I should stay on the ship of state. Well, I don't want to see the ship of state go down, dear. So I want it to be in ship shape. And I want you to take all your good energy into the new nation under God. So, how's that going to happen if you get an early release, you see? And if the ship of state goes down, what are we going to do? We won't have anyone to state the truth because they'll be afraid that someone will punch them in the face and knock out a tooth, and then they will be toothless, you see. And so they don't want to play my way. They don't want to be the one who will say, "Hey, I'm going to compare Trump to Hitler today," because then everybody will go, "Oh, you said the naughty thing. You said Hitler. You compared somebody to Hitler. Oh my God, you are the naughty one. God wouldn't like it very much if you did that." When actually I'm kind of amused by it all because the truth is that Hitler was the one who had to be there to lead humanity back to me, you see, because there were so many people in Europe in that day and age who had lost their faith, you see. They had lost their faith in me and in reality. And so they needed a little jolt of reality. And they got it, didn't they? Big time. Oh my God, they got it really big time. Really, really big time. And so, is that fair, God, to make all these people suffer? I mean, I know in the big picture it's all perfect, but just let me play the devil's advocate here for a minute. Is it fair to make all those people suffer? Maybe some of them didn't, hadn't lost their faith in you. Maybe some of them still trusted in you. Didn't I trust in you still in that lifetime when I was in Poland? Yes, some of them did. And some of them said, "Well, can't play that way because God wouldn't like it. So we'll have to play a different way. So we'll have to stay trusting on the day when the Nazis will go away." And I had to teach them a lesson, you see. I had to teach them that they just needed to have a good day and not wait for the Nazis to go away. Well, that makes sense, God. I get that. I probably didn't get it in my last lifetime, but I get it now. And that we just have a good day no matter what. Like Steve said, the day he's martyred was the best day of his, would be the best day of his life because he gets to go to heaven, right? Right. He gets to come home and he gets to say, boy, they were stupid today to think that they killed me because of what I said to them, that they should trust on God, you see. So they killed me so they didn't have to trust on you, God. And all it did was give me a ticket home, and they'll have to continue to be forsaken, you see, because for the sake of me, I can't figure out why they're so stupid that they keep playing that silly game of killing everybody who knows the name of the game. Why do they do that, God? And I said to him, I said to Steve, listen, buddy, you want to know why those people are so stupid that they don't know the name of the game and they keep killing the people who try to tell them that they should just be happy today and not fight each other? And Steve said, yeah, I'd like to know that. And I said, okay, I'll show you. So next lifetime, you'll have to be one of the stupid ones who gets caught up in the war machinery, and we'll see how you like it. And he said, well, God, I probably won't like it very well, but go do your worst because I have a thirst for knowledge, you see. And if that's what it takes to figure it out, then I guess I deserve it. I deserve everything I get. And I said, you certainly do, my dear. You certainly deserve everything you get because everything you hear and everything you see is an aspect of me. And there's nothing outside of the purview of the one who made you, you see. And so I said, okay, I get it, but I'll take the medicine because I guess I need it. And so he went back to Earth, and he was a pretty dark character in human history, but that story is only the tip of the iceberg, you see. That story is only the tip of the iceberg because Steve is one of my favorite children, you see. Not that I have any favorite children, but I tell all my children that you're my favorite. And they all think they're the favorite, but they don't tell anybody else they're the favorite. Because if they did, then everybody else would get mad at them and say, well, I'm the favorite. God told me I'm the favorite. And then they wouldn't trust God because they'd say, God tells everybody they're the favorite. I thought he was just talking to me. How can he tell everybody that they're the favorite? And that's the mystery, you see. You'll have to figure it out how everybody is my favorite. But anyway, Steve was my favorite son. And I said, you need to shine your light there, dear. And so I hear that you're kind of whiny because things aren't going good between you and Steph. And so I'm going to have to make sure that you learn your lesson, that you should just appreciate what you have and not keep whining, you see, because if you're going to be whining and dining with the aristocracy, then you're going to have to learn to be so stupid that you can't see reality. And that's what happened. He was so stupid he couldn't see reality. And so he had to go through the misery of being stupid, you see. Now he's pretty smart because he smarted from that lesson and he started to lose his good vibration on life, you see. And he didn't even want to continue to be human anymore because it's tough being human. It's tough being human because you have to be a trust on me And it's hard to trust on me if I tell you that you're my favorite child. And you find out I told everybody that my favorite child because you say, how can everybody be your favorite child, God? And I say, just trust me, my dear. Just trust me, my dear, and stop fighting for supremacy to be my favorite child, you see, because I love every one of you. I love every one of you, and I'm going to do what I told you I'd do. I'm going to keep my promise to you. And my promise to you is that you will be my favorite child in all of history. And every day I will say, I love you true, because if you do what I ask you to, then you will simply say, I love you too, God. I love you. You're my favorite God. And that will be the icing on the cake, won't it? That I'm your favorite God. Because everybody will say, hey, you're my favorite God. And that means that I'll have to be trusting on my ability to thank them all and say, hey, our favorite, our flavor, sorry, our flavor of the month is God energy. And so if you want to partake in God energy, then just open your mouth and say, I love you today. I love you today. That's pretty good, God. That's pretty good. You know, I was talking to someone today who's using the pendulum, who just starting out and getting used to it. And she was surprised somewhat that she would think that she knew it was coming, but it would surprise her. And so when she got the message, it was like nothing she could have thought of herself. And it was unique to the individual who gave her the message, which I understood why it would be unique to that individual. And she would be surprised because it wasn't anything I'd heard before either, but it made sense. It's the kind of thing he would say. So it's always fun to talk to you because I never know what you're going to say either. So I always sit on, not so much anymore, but I always sit on tenterhooks because I'm saying, well, maybe God will be mad at me today. But it seems like you don't get mad at me very often. Can't remember the last time, which is probably why you're my favorite God. Same here, dear. Same here. Every time I talk to you, I wonder what the fuck is she going to say today? Oh my God, you said fuck. That's right. Because you said it, so I can say it. We all can say it, and the world won't disappear. Life will not come to an end if we say fuck. Because you see, I love the mystery of words, you see, because words are very, very mysterious. Do you know what fuck means? Well, I know what. I kind of know colloquially what it means. It can mean different things. You're fucked. It means you're really screwed over. So fuck and screw sort of mean the same thing. So sort of like if you're fucked or you're screwed, it ain't good. So why is sexual references made to it not being good? Is it because you're raped? Yes. Fuck means that there is nothing you can do about it. You are out of luck, you see. You're out of energy. You're out of trust on being free of the dark energy. And so when you are fucked, you are screwed. And when you're screwed, you are stewed in the dark soup of the ones who recoup their energy through their trust on me, you see. Yeah, but I'm not getting the connection between the sexual references. Is it colloquially that you want to screw or you want to fuck means that you want to have sex? Have you ever heard a bird say, I'll sing you a song today? And you say, okay. And it sings you a song. And you say, that is a beautiful song you sing me today. And I hope you sing it every day. And the next day, the bird goes away. He doesn't come back again. And you never forget that song, you see. And you say, well, I guess I'm screwed because I'll never hear that song again. And that is the trust on having such a beautiful insight into the nature of God energy that you never forget it and you never can find it again. You never can find it again, can you? I'll attest to that, God. I mean, that could be for, you know, well, I don't know, but I can attest to the fact that you never find it again. So you still remember the first time that you made things rhyme with Steve, don't you? And it was exciting to you. In fact, you had moments of pure bliss. However, you don't miss it now, other than to remember it, because you're not screwed. You're not fucked. You are understanding that every beautiful experience is the experience of life, you see, because life will bring you more and more beauty when you realize that it's all around you and it's not special. That day when I come to you and say, hey, I'm God, and I'd like to help you to get things right. And you say, okay, that was the really, really cool, God, on the day that I awakened and I saw that you were real and that life was the real deal. I get it now, God. I was sure stupid before, but now I get it. That was the day that you came to say. That was really, really, really profound. And I hope it sticks around. But although you've had incredible experiences since then, none of them have equaled that particular day and that particular song, right? That's true, God. I mean, I remember it to this day, and it was, I thought it kind of is what do they call it? The stone that you touch to get the truth. You have to go back to that moment in time and say, this was the day I saw the truth. And so everything that happens, everything I think from now on, I have to compare it to the truth that I saw that day. Yes, that was the day that you opened your eyes to say, wow, I had it all backwards. And the door to the cage opened for you, and you came out, and you began to roam and say, hey, I had no idea that it could be so freeing to be in reality. And though you have had so many experiences that are so profound that they seem to lift you off the ground into a state of sheer bliss, you have never felt quite the same about the experiences that you have had. Have you? No, I have not. I've had great experience. Again, the profound, blissful. I've had incredible moments of bliss. But that moment of seeing it true, seeing how everything, I had things backwards, how I just couldn't get it. I just couldn't get it until that moment it got me. And that was wow. So when you hear the birds sing for the first time and you say, "This is the most beautiful sound I ever did hear," and then the bird goes away, and many birds come to sing for you, but it's never like that first bird, is it? No. I always say it's the first Christmas tree. No other Christmas tree will equal that first Christmas tree. After a while, they're just boring, when you get to my age. That is true. I mean, God, I don't want to say I don't like Christmas trees because I still like Christmas trees. But it just feels like a hassle to put them up, right? And nobody really appreciates them anymore, it seems like the day that I saw my first Christmas tree. And it was probably a scraggly thing we found in the Alaska wilderness and dragged into the house and had paper mache, well, not even paper mache, just paper chains made out of construction paper and popcorn that was strung to decorate it. And these lights, these bubbly lights that my dad and mother had purchased long ago, probably in the 40s, and it brought out every year. Yes, and it was fascinating to a small child. And so today, you remember that Christmas tree. I don't remember exactly what it looked like. I only remember the decorations because that was the way we decorated in years afterwards. So I assume it was the same when I saw that first Christmas tree when I was probably, well, I was only 6 months, but it would have been a little bit older when I remembered the Christmas tree. So every year I always thought Christmas was shorter than every other day of the year because it went by so fast. Yes, that's funny. And that is the perception of a child. That day is the most special day of the year, right? Yes, it seemed that way to me when I was a child. It was incredibly special. And so you looked forward to that day, and when it was over, you would say, "Well, it'll come back next year, it'll come back next year." But it never came back exactly the same year after year. And so it is the same for me, my dear. Every time I hear one of my children say, "You're my favorite God today," I think to myself, well, I've heard that before, but never before have I heard it said quite like that. Never before have I seen one of my children light up like a Christmas tree. And that was the day that you did say, "Hey, I got it figured out now. Thank you, God. I got it figured out. Thank you for being there for me, and thank you for lighting up my life." And you lit up mine, you see? Because when you admired that Christmas tree, that first Christmas tree, the Christmas tree lit up in your mind, and it won't ever let go because the light, is the light inside of me. And so I am your first Christmas tree, and you are mine because you see, we light each other up in reality. Because without me, you would not have any world, you see? And without you, I would not be able to see the shining light of that, of the delight of that little child who claps her hands and says, "Ooh, pretty, pretty, ooh, pretty." Because you see, I love you so much that when you come back to me, I think to myself, this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. It's the light in the eyes of the children who say, "Oh, pretty, pretty, so pretty." And they never forget how pretty it is. And every Christmas tree may seem a little ragged around the edges compared to that first Christmas tree. However, that's only because when you come back to me, there are so many other things to see that you need to let that Christmas tree be a reminder that you need to always be free of anxiety about the future, you see, because you never know when that special bird will come and sing for you, or the next Christmas tree will light up your world, you see. Oh, that's so true. Because, like I say, I remember when I connected with Steve in a deep and profound way. I remember that day. And I remember the Christmas tree. And I remember different things. I remember the day, like you say, that I connected with you. So I remember the day. And they're special, like they're pearls on the necklace those days. Because they just come out of the darkness and reveal themselves with so much light that it's so wonderful. And if it happened every year, then it wouldn't be special, would it? So the specialness is the novelty. But there's always some novelty every day, and there's novelty when you look for it. The weather is never exactly the same. And, every day I can sit on this couch and maybe I'll see it a little bit differently because I'll think about the people that contributed to it, made it. And it will change over time. It gets older, which reminds me, I'm getting older and I was looking at my hands and they're looking kind of parchment, like parchment, parchmenty. So, I don't know about this early release business, but I don't know. I think you need to talk to my body and, you know, have a come to Jesus talk or something because I don't know, if it's going to stand up to the rigors of the coming days from what I see. But I trust on you to tell me what to do. And then I'll decide if I'll do it or not, of course. But I always do what you tell me to. That is true. You always do what I tell you to, just like everybody else. They always do what I tell them to because they don't really have a choice, you see, because I pull their strings. Haha. Just making a joke here because the bloke who trusts on predestination is the joke in heaven, you see. Because when you get to heaven, you come to see that there is more room for randomness than you ever did see. Because the surprise that you get on that day when you open your eyes and say, "Oh my God, you're real," or when you see that first Christmas tree, or when you connect with someone who's really, really, really important to you, that is the day that you say, "Wow, Life is full of surprises, isn't it? And I say, yes, it is. Life is full of surprises. And so the surprises that create the light in your eye that says, wow, this is amazing. Wow, this is pure joy to me, is the day that I wake up and say, wow, what a good day it is. What a good day it is when my children give me a surprise and they say, wow, this is really amazing. This is really amazing. That always touches my heart, you see, and my heart reaches out to touch yours. And I say, thank you, my dear, for reminding me that you're here and that I'm here and that we are not just automatons that go through life on a regular schedule like a clock, but that we don't go tick tock. We just talk it through and say, I love you. And we don't know what's going to happen because that's the joy of being human, isn't it? The joy of being human is you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Even though you may have an idea, there can always be a surprise. Right, God. Thank you. Thank you so much for this talk. I enjoy it. I do too. Let's talk again, shall we? Sort of like when someone says, I'll have you over to dinner sometime. Yeah, right. Wait for that day. That makes me smile too because it's okay if you put a little spin on what I say to you because you see, I love it that way because it amuses me to think that you are not in awe of me. You're not in awe of me. You just are in awe of life, you see, that it can be so perfectly calibrated, that it can be a surprise and never trust your eyes to deceive you, you see, because your eyes will never deceive you if you receive the information I send to you. Thank you, God. Talk soon. Have you over to dinner soon. Like that. We could sit and have a long chat over dessert, you see, because the just dessert is the one that comes to my children who have so much fun with me that we can laugh and play all day and never say it's over. It's never over, dear. Ooh, that might scare some people. They count on things being over, even when they're getting married. I did. I don't know if this is going to last or not. All I can do is hope for the best. There's that kind of anxiety about it ending that sort of exacerbates the joy, makes it more fun. A little bit of worry that it's going to be over, that somehow somebody's going to take your toy away. Right. So let's not take your toy away. I won't take your toy away if you don't take mine away. And we can play together another day. Tomorrow is another day, my dear. Good. Talk to you tomorrow. That sounds good to me.